heartfelt thanks to all the sponsors, and most importantly, thank you all for coming together and being part of this amazing opportunity. So I'm very excited to be sharing what I have to share with you about as far as Microsoft Purview is concerned, as far as the Microsoft Purview data strategy is concerned. But I wanted to start with a sense of gratitude and thank you all first. So I'm assuming you all can see me okay, hear me okay, and my content is loaded. If you all can give me a thumbs up or put a Q in the chat, I'll get us started right away. Awesome, perfect. So let's jump right into it. I think I have like 10 to 15 minutes. And before I jump into it, my name is HAMMAD RAJJOUB. I sit in our product marketing team at Microsoft. I look at our product strategy for ecosystem extensibility, and I also focus on our information protection and governance related product portfolios. Here's my LinkedIn, my Twitter handle. Feel free to connect. I look forward to learning from you all and also helping you in your journeys as you go forward. So the agenda is that I wanted to paint a picture of why do we exist. I always like to start with why, so there's just kind of clarity in everybody's mind of why is this important, what are we trying to achieve, and then go into how later on. So I just wanted to paint that picture with you in front of you today. Security is a top of mind concern at Microsoft. Security is a team sport. Security is super, super critical for us, for our customers, for our broader ecosystem. That is our reason of existence. It'll continue to be a top priority. It's growing. It's getting even more critical with every single passing day. So I just wanted to kind of set the context on why this is so important from Microsoft perspective, and then I'll share what we are doing and how we are tackling it. There are nation state actors. There is data exfiltration scenarios. There are organized cybercrime entities that are they're doing this as a business. They're running it as a service. You may have all heard the term ransomware as a service. So there are many XYZ security threat related scenarios that are being run as a service at scale today. So that's why the onus is on us, on you, on all of us in this call today to make sure that we protect our enterprises that we work for, that we work with, our customers, our partners, and our broader ecosystem. And like I said, it is at the heart of everything that Microsoft is trying to do as well. So what does that mean? Like, how are we tackling this challenge? What are the things that we're doing? How does it mean from a product strategy, execution perspective? I wanted to paint that picture in front of you. So if you look at it, we have built 6 different product categories, 6 different dimensions, 6 different brand names that contain more than 50 products. Think of Microsoft Defender, Microsoft Sentinel, Microsoft Entra, Microsoft Purview, which is the heart of the conversation today, Microsoft Priva, Microsoft Endpoint Manager, Intune. Those are the big product families that contain 50 plus products underneath them. It's a big push from Microsoft. We're thinking very strategically about it, and whatever that we're doing, we're making sure that it's multi-platform, it's multi-cloud. It's got to be able to run on iOS, Android, Linux, in addition to Windows. It should not only work on Microsoft clouds like Azure, Microsoft 365, Dynamics 365, but it should also work on GCP, AWS, et cetera. So we're building this holistic set of capabilities put under those 6 big banners of product innovation categories, and then 50 plus products fall into that. So it's a huge effort from Microsoft. And of course, we're not doing it alone. You're all part of that journey with us. But I also want to paint a picture of what does it mean from a business perspective. So security itself today is a more than $20 billion business for Microsoft. What it really means is that Microsoft is the biggest security company in software company in the world right now. So that's why it's just kind of super critical. I know we have been on that journey and we started small and we've come where we are, but I don't want us to lose the sight of how big, how critical, how important it is for it. And of course, Microsoft Purview is at the heart of this innovation, this security posture. You may remember, some of you may remember our recent set of announcements from late last year, where we brought the data security, data governance, compliance, and risk capabilities together, because we were learning from our customers that you cannot just do security and you cannot just do governance and you cannot just do compliance separately in silos. So you gotta bring all of those three things together. So that's exactly what we did. And that's where we announced our Microsoft Purview brand of product families. So on one side, you have very well-known data security, risk, and compliance products, your information protection, data loss prevention, lifecycle management, e-discovery, audit, compliance manager, et cetera, et cetera. And then on the other side, we've had these amazing, amazing capabilities, natively multi-cloud, that would allow you to go and find out, no matter where your data sits, to be able to get you that discovery, visibility into your entire digital data state, our data map, data catalog, as well as our data state insights kind of capabilities. So we brought those two families together. We're working towards a unified experiences. Those products are part of Microsoft Purview, and that gives us a full left to right view from data governance to data security to risk and compliance. I'm going to keep moving along. Now, with that context out of the way in terms of where does Microsoft sit, what does Microsoft security mean, why is that important to us? We can do all of that great work. We all can be part of that team and work all of that great work. And we can only be so effective if we don't really understand what are the challenges that our customers are facing. So it's extremely, extremely critical for us to ground in the reality of our customers. And when we speak of customers, I think you'll all agree with me that data has become the lifeblood of every business, right? Particularly with the shift to hybrid work, an unprecedented level of digital transformation. Everybody's digitizing, innovation, all of that amazing things happening in our industry. What that means is the volume of data is going up, the velocity at which it's being created is going up. And with all of that data explosion, what it means is that vast majority of decision makers really don't know where their data sits, where their sensitive information is sitting. And the digital transformation is fueling it, the hybrid work is fueling it. So that leads to exposure gaps. Like if you don't know where your most important asset, your data is, how are you going to cover it? How are you going to protect? You cannot protect what you don't know where it sits. So exposure gaps. What that also leads to is missed regulatory requirements. If you don't know where your data is sitting or how it's moving from one geography to the other, it leads to challenges regards to regulatory requirements. If you lose data, when you lose data, it does not only impede digital transformation, it also brings serious, serious brand and reputation risk. I'm going to share a few numbers as we go forward. And there is a very big amount of reputational damage that's attached to that. So it's every time there's a breach that happens, and let me say that it's not a matter of if, but when. The anticipation is that there is a threat actor already in your organization at any given time. I think we not I think we already work at Microsoft from the position of assuming that there is a breach. A lot of our customers follow the same mindset. And if you have that mindset, then it's not a matter of if, but when the data theft will happen. So you got to be very, very cognizant of that fact, and you need to make sure that you stop that exfiltration from happening. And it's a common recurrence, and as and when it happens, it hurts the speed of innovation and it massively damages the brand, because then your partner ecosystem, your supply chain, your customers, they don't want to work with you. And of course, when there are regulatory requirements, there are audits, and if you don't have a good handle on data, you run into failed audits. So that's the landscape. That's the challenge that we are trying to help our customers solve for with all the innovations that we are bringing to the table. So if this is the breadth first view, like full left to right view of the challenges that our customers are facing, I want to get a little bit more pointy. And that's the pivot that we have taken very recently in this calendar year. And I want to make sure that you all understand. If there was one takeaway that I want you to land with this conversation, is this challenge that we're trying to solve for our customers. And this challenge is grounded in data security. Our customers want to be able to protect their most important asset, which is data. right? Let's break it down. Let's keep it simple. Our customers want to be able to gain visibility into their entire digital data state and want to understand what kind of data is sitting where. And when I say entire digital data state, I'm not just talking about Microsoft 365. I'm not just talking about Azure. I'm not just talking about Dynamics 365. I'm talking about AWS. I'm talking about GCP. I'm talking about thousands of SaaS applications. So entire digital data state. So that's what's top of mind from customers. I do a lot of executive briefings when I go talk to customers. The first question that they ask is like, hey, Hamad, hey, Microsoft, help us discover our digital data state and then help us protect it. You can't protect what you can't see. So that's the number one thing. Data is important. Of course, it is important. It's critical. The second part of that is data does not move itself, right? So you got to have, those are users that are moving data from one place to the other. It's applications and services that's moving data from one place to the other. So data is important, critical core assets, a crown jewel in this example, as you can see on the visual. But the context is also very, very important. You got to make sure that you understand who is accessing what, where, when, how. So context is everything. That's why it's very, very critical that we help solve for understanding that context. So detect how users are accessing the data, which kind of users are accessing data, what is their intent, et cetera, et cetera. The third part of the conversation is you can build your data maps, get the data discovery, do the classification, labeling, protection all day long. On top of that, you can find out who's accessing what, do the access controls all day long. But at the end of the day, if you are not able to protect the data exfiltration, your data security strategy is not working. So you can do all of those things, but the most important thing is that you want to be able to make sure that you are not allowing data exfiltration. And remember, we're living in a hybrid world. We're living in a work from home world. So that's why it's very, very important to be able to have that control. So to be able to prevent the data leakage and data exfiltration. So those are the three things that have to come together to help you form your data security strategy. So let me paint that scenario, and then we'll go into how we're solving for it and what are the innovations that will bring to close right away. So let's look at this kind of workflow, right? So there are more than 300 million people working remotely based on studies and surveys that we've done. Data security incidents can happen to anyone at any time, anywhere, right? There are three primary scenarios, and I'm not going to drain the slide. You can see that. If your organization doesn't have visibility into the data, then anybody can just kind of copy sensitive information. It leads to the risk of misusing. Somebody can upload it to unsanctioned third-party SaaS application. That could be a malicious intent. Let's say Hamad wakes up 7 a.m. in the morning, Sunday morning, and he starts downloading tons of sensitive documents that are already classified and labeled, and he's uploading them to Dropbox or Google Drive or whatever unsanctioned applications. A flag should go on right away. Something is wrong, right? And then there could be like the inadvertent sharing of sensitive information as well. Like instead of sending it to somebody within your organization, you send it to someone outside of organization, or with a colleague who does not have access to the information, should not have access to the information. The document can be shared. So all of those things can happen. Combination, few hero scenarios that we see happening over and over again. So what do you need to tackle those scenarios? You need to do three things. You got to be able to protect sensitive data where it lives throughout its life cycle, meaning from creation to movement, no matter data, where it is sitting, where it's moving, all of those things. You have to protect data through its entire life cycle. The second part is that you got to be able to understand the context around the user activity. And then the third part, like I said previously, was making sure that we are able to protect the data exfiltration. And it's not one or the other. It's not step one, step two, step three. All three of those things have to happen for your organizations to be able to gain that maturity in their data security journey. So that's what we're doing with our data security pivot. It's part of Microsoft Purview. What we've done is we've brought these three things together that we've been doing for many, many years: information protection, Data loss prevention, insider risk management. So information protection is all about data discovery, finding it, classifying it, labeling it. Insider risk management is all about user context, understanding who's doing what, where, when, how. And data loss prevention is making sure that once we have those contexts, we make sure that we stop our sensitive information from going out of the organizational control. And of course, all of that is multi-cloud, multi-platform as you go forward. Um, I have this awesome video, but I think in the interest of time, I'm not going to play it right now. You will all get this slide deck after the presentation, and you can unplay it. But what it does is it really gives you an example of our innovation that we're bringing to the market, of how we're using all of those three things coming together to allow customers to move away from static data loss prevention policies to a dynamic, adaptive protection posture. It looks at the context of who's doing what in real time and then makes smart decisions based on our AI and machine learning algorithms to stop the exfiltration of data from the organization. All right, so how do you get ahead of this data security risk and posture management? You got to be able to have full visibility into over time, like how users are engaging into the activities that put data at risk. That's where the AI and ML capabilities come in, and that's really understanding the context from the user perspective. And then once you do that, then depending on the user activities, remember the example that I was giving, 7 a.m. Sunday morning, Hammad is logging in and downloading a bunch of sensitive information. That's got to elevate my risk score. What it does is, but the moment it elevates the risk on the individual user level, then the system can make smart decisions like, hey, if the risk of the user is elevated, do I allow the user to be able to access that sensitive documentation or not? On a normal day, a fine summer morning, it's perfectly fine. I can access that document because I have access control. My user has access to it. But based on the activities that I just performed, my risk level is elevated and system can smartly block that access. And once my risk level comes down, it can again allow me to access it. And there's something in between too as well. What it allows you to do is that, hey, I'm allowing you to access it, but you got to give me justification of why you're using it. And that justification gets logged into our audit system. It shows up in our dashboards, and then a lot of smart people and security admins can make those decisions on the basis of that, right? So, and then all of this context, there's just external signals that are very important to this. It's like if somebody is moving from the organization, imagine if I resigned from Microsoft and I'm trying to access a lot of sensitive information. That's a very, very important signal that this system needs to know, and we have built in kind of from that perspective. All right, so I'm going to bring this to a close. We're doing all of that, but we also know that we cannot solve for everything on our own. So everything that we do, we believe has to be extensible. We're building this multi-cloud, multi-platform. We have tons of APIs. We have lots of extensibility opportunities built to the platform. So you, as part of this broader ecosystem, you can build on top of this platform. So I welcome you to come and explore with us, whether that be Power Automate workflows, whether that be API integrations, whether that be value-added services on top of platform. There is just tons and tons of opportunities over there. I'm not going to drain the slide, but I just wanted to paint a picture so you know that we have built a lot of extensibility and we're adding more APIs and surface area. If you all have ideas, scenarios that you think that Microsoft is not investing in, please let us know, and we'll do our best to that. I think I lost the control of my slides. Somebody took over, but that's perfectly fine because I was almost already coming to an end. So with that, I'm grateful to be here. I hope you all are going to walk away from this conversation understanding what Microsoft's strategy is for Microsoft security. What does it mean for Microsoft Purview? And again, very specifically, what does it mean from our data strategy perspective, where we're going with our information protection, data loss prevention, and insider risk management capabilities. So Vignesh, I'm here for if there are any questions. and however you want me to spend next couple of minutes.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the wonderful speech, Hamid. Believe that would have set the tone for the rest of the day. Thanks for that. So, folks, if you have any questions, you could just put it on the chat, or if you want to hit Hamid later on LinkedIn or Twitter, whatever works for you. Yep. So any questions from anyone before we go to the breakout sessions? All right. So if not, folks, as I said, you could also later hit Hamid on LinkedIn or Twitter. So to the folks who are interested on track one, please stay on this very same meeting because the track one sessions will be starting on this very same meeting. And for those who are interested on track two, please revisit the agenda and click on the meeting link for track two. So I repeat, track one will continue on this very same meeting. And for those who are interested on track two, please visit the agenda and move to track two. Thank you.